Hello, my name is Dale Harris. I'm KF7GNL. I'm the current president of the Amateur Radio Club at Willamette View Retirement Community, which is located just south of Portland, Oregon. Our ham club would like to introduce you to our community, our personnel, and our station. Our community has approximately 450 residents living in independent, assisted, and healthcare accommodations. The largest of our 5 buildings is the 8-story Manor Building. Several ham antennas are on top of the building, which is the tallest building in our county. I'm going to move out of the way now so our videographer can zoom in a little closer and we can see the antennas on top of the Manor Building. We have several different antennas and they're designed to be used on different radio frequency bands. Our community gets its name from our 27-acre campus location, which is high above the Willamette River. The Willamette flows from the Cascade Mountains and joins the Columbia at Portland. Now we want to take you inside the Manor Building to our dedicated ham room, but first a better view of the Willamette River. Bernie Zumbrunnan, W9UOM, will give us some history about how our club came into existence. Donna Krasnow, KG7GNS, asked him about our history.
Well, Arnie, tell us how it all got started here at Willamette View.
Well, I told management I wouldn't sign up to move in here unless they gave me permission to put an antenna on the roof. And they willingly did. And when I got here, they asked me if I wanted the antenna. I said, I'm not ready yet. Walking through the parking lot one day, I saw a car with a California ham plate. So I pursued that and found it belonged to a guy named Bob Hamilton. I ran him down, and he and I decided we should have a radio club, and that's the way it started.
Well, how did you get the room?
The first thing the administration gave us was one wall of the sewing room, which was laughable, but not too much thereafter. They said we could move in with an old curmudgeon ham in an office he had where he had a ham shack. And I said, well, unlike most hams, he won't even show us his gear. And so that's going to have to be up to you, not us. And they talked him into sharing it with us if they quit charging him rent for the office. And that was a fine arrangement for everybody.
Thanks, Ernie.
Craig Van Valkenburg, Willamette View's president and CEO, tells Donna why he considers our ham club important.
Can you tell us why Willamette View values our amateur radio club as an asset, so much so that you're willing to give us a room for our ham shack for free?
Sure. So first of all, Willamette View views the ham radio club as an asset because of our role in the county and how it's connected with fire, police, emergency services, and so having a club room or a room for the ham radio club is actually part of what we believe is our contribution to supporting it and being supportive of the community that we're part of.
Thanks, Greg.
Willamette View has provided us a dedicated ham shack in an apartment on the 6th floor of our 8-story Manor Building. We'd like to give you a quick tour of our ham shack on the 6th floor of the Manor Building. Starting over here, you see the input from the solar panels on the roof, which keep our batteries charged. There are 5 batteries in total. Along this bench, we have two 2-meter radios, and later we'll tell you exactly what capacity they have. As we move around the room, we move to our first station that has high frequency capabilities, which can allow an operator to reach all around the world. On the end of the room is a map of Clackamas County, which is our home, and you'll see that the major population area is up in the upper left-hand corner. Moving over to this bench, we have another high-frequency rig, and on top of the shelf are the devices that allow us to rotate the antenna on the roof and change its frequencies. Here to tell you more about our shack our 3 Willamette View hams. Pat Loken, KE7 TZI, Arch Doty, W7ACD, and Jack Mills, KE7 ZUK.
Pat, tell us how we use the 2-meter radio.
We use it in many ways. 2-meter radio is generally the frequency of FM, VHF, and also video. The frequencies run from 144 megahertz to 148 megahertz. The radio has a distance, line of sight, or about 3.5 miles. Therefore, radios need repeaters, which will pick up that signal and transfer it on to another location. Each one has its own antenna, and they're used partly for just conversation, general conversation. They're also used for ham radio nets, which are communication with various hams in an area. And of course, they're always used with them for emergencies. That's their specific goal, and their specific use is in emergencies, like earthquakes and fires and sort of things like that. That's about it.
Well, thanks. Arch, tell us what all this other equipment is used for.
Well, in case of an emergency, we have 3 channels of emergency communications available to us. Pat has just told us about the 2-meter rig, which gets us in touch with our local first responders. Then there's a statewide network, and we can contact them by using this station over here. In addition to that, there's a very extensive national emergency communications network, which we can contact using this station over here. And this station also has an extra feature, and that is that during an emergency, we can use it for what we call health and welfare traffic. That means that we can send messages from the residents of Willamette View to relatives or friends anywhere. And if there's no emergency, then we have a lot of fun, because we can use these 2 stations to talk to our fellow amateur radio operators, not only in the United States, but all over the world.
Hi, Jack. Can you tell us what is an antenna?
Sure. An antenna is an electrical conductor that projects radio waves into sensitized layers of the lower atmosphere and receives signals from distant places.
Can you describe what an antenna is actually like?
Yes, there are many types. They range from single poles to elevated arrays, and they are designed for various ham radio objectives. Generally speaking, the higher the frequency, the shorter the antenna elements. Our antenna is a 3-element Yagi on the roof of our building. There is a center feed of the signal on the directed element, and the element in the center is flanked by a reflector and for a directed element.
What makes our Yagi unique?
Well, flexibility is a thing. The length of the driven element can be changed to tune to the specific amateur bands, and bands are related to frequency. The trade name is a step here.
And what's the range of our equipment?
Almost anywhere in the world. I have talked to people in Australia, New Zealand, Spain, and Moscow. We have people here who have worldwide records and long albums of cards with people they've talked to.
Thanks, Jack.
Now we hear from Hugh Haven, KF6AOK, about ham radio's role in communication during a major emergency.
Hugh, tell me about how hams have been used effectively.
Well, the amateur radio service is service to the community. And New Year's Day, every year, the hams take their video cameras to Pasadena and set them up to look over the route of the Pasadena Tournament of Roses parade. The signals are sent to the officers so that they can monitor the progress of the parade. Amateurs are stationed around the course of the Long Beach Marathon in Long Beach, California. They report the progress of the racers when they pass by and also call in if there's an emergency. Amateurs also provide services to hospitals. A team of 12 or so goes to almost every hospital in the country. They train with the staff, and if there's an emergency, an outage, they go in and set up communications. Quite often they have to be there to replace a phone system that has gone out. They also will set up communications to the outside world if that is lost. At nearly every emergency, such as the Hurricane Katrina, the Sandy hurricane, 9/11, and the forest fires on the east and the west coast, amateurs have joined with police, fire, and sheriff's personnel to provide emergency services to augment their communications. That's what hams do. They step forward when they see a need and provide service for the community, providing the needed emergency communication.
Thanks, Hugh.
Well, Willamette View Hams are members of the Clackamas County Amateur Radio Emergency Service, better known as CARES. Here to tell you more about CARES is ham Ted Siebel, W7EEI.
Hi, Ted. What is CARES?
CARES stands for Clackamas Amateur Radio Emergency Services. Clackamas is a county in Oregon, near Portland, Oregon. Amateur radio, besides being a hobby, provides a communication service to the community in case of a major event such as earthquake or flood.
Does your group have meetings?
Well, every Sunday night we check into a local net and check-ins are 30 to 50 people typically, and we discuss activities, and they may require volunteers to assist in providing communications between various locations and a control station. Examples are in parades, charity events, long-distance bicycle rides, and local marathons.
Do you have any face-to-face meetings?
Well, yes, once a month we meet in a central location for training and to discuss the events.
Do you do any emergency exercises?
Of course, once or twice a year I have an emergency exercise drill, and it's conducted from remote locations to simulate a major earthquake or other disaster. We do this to prepare ourselves for a major event where we may be called upon to assist fire departments or police. We have installed 2-meter location equipment in most of the area fire departments and hospitals. We also use our own personal equipment where, if needed, at remote locations.
Thanks, Ted.
Recent additions to our ham shack are solar-powered battery chargers. Our consultant and major assistant in designing and installing the solar equipment was Steve Jensen, KE7GXC. Steve is a member of the Ham Club in nearby Oregon City. Steve tells us how he got involved and how the system works. Steve, thanks so much for being here.
Good morning, Dale.
Can you start out by saying, what are the advantages of having this solar installation? What's it do for us in general?
Solar allows us to keep the radio batteries. These are all the radios in the ham room are powered from batteries. They also have AC power, but the batteries are charged by the sun, and that's a fantastic thing. We have a lot of sun in Oregon, surprisingly, even though we've had a wet and gloomy February, the rest of the year offers a lot of charge for the batteries.
Okay, how, in very simple terms, does the system operate?
Well, the sun strikes the solar panels, generates power. Power is brought down from the roof into the room and distributed to each one of the radio stations. We have 3 here, and each station has a charge controller to keep its battery charged up.
And the whole idea is in case of an emergency, our general AC power supply might be destroyed. We have backup power here at Willamette View, but they might run out of fuel, but the sun still shines. So that's why it's a backup source that should be dependable.
Yes, in an emergency, we restrict the use of radio, and the batteries would last many days that way, even if it wasn't sunny.
Well, Steve, thanks again for all the work you did in designing the system and installing it, and for sharing with us today.
Glad to help, thank you.
It's been our pleasure to introduce you to the Amateur Radio Club at Willamette View Retirement Community. For more information about Willamette View or our ham club, please use the information on the screen that will follow.